This dresser has survived about 125 years, and today I'm bringing it back. This piece was refinished about 40 years ago in a very dark stain, probably nothing like it would have been when it was new. So my goal with this restoration is to remove the finish and bring the wood back to more of a natural state. It's from Lenore, and it looks like we can date this piece somewhere between 1890 and 1910. And where do I always start? With a good cleaning. I'm using a degreaser. I spray it on there pretty heavily and then go ahead and wipe everything down. It was feeling a little tacky almost, and obviously quite dirty. Ooh. And then after that, I've got to just start getting things cleaned up. It has drawer liners in there. I want to get all of the old hardware off. This was given to me by a friend, and I know the history about it a little bit, only about 40 years ago, when her grandfather refinished it for her when she was a very small child. It is obviously very old, those flathead screws going directly into wood knobs, and there are a few things about it that makes us date it where we did. But I knew I just wanted to bring this back to life, even though she doesn't have room for it anymore. She's very invested in the process. But the newspaper in there, 1981, it's so cool. I'm going to save that, I think, for the new owner, so they just have a little bit of history that goes with this piece. Once I got everything all cleaned up, it's time to get my PPE on and start some sanding. Now, you'll notice when I placed my sander there, I didn't push go until I was already on there. Don't start your sander until you're already sitting on your piece. And I did some sanding, I did some scraping, and it's like teamwork to try to figure out which is going to be the most effective method to get this finish off. Again, this is not the original finish, or I think it probably would have been coming off a little bit easier. I don't know exactly what was used when it was refinished about 40 years ago, but it's on there. It's on there really good. So I was able to get the first coat off, and then it did take me with an 80 grit to get that stain off. And it's just already showing me this is going to be a little bit of a difficult one. Sometimes it's easiest to actually move the dresser around rather than me getting into some weird, awkward positions. So I try to, when I can, to lay these down in positions that work best. Now I'm going to use lots of stripping methods, and if you're interested in learning more about stripping furniture, you can check out my ebook that is completely dedicated to that process. And I'm pouring some lacquer thinner on here. I did one side with a traditional stripper, and it wasn't terribly effective, so I didn't even film that part. I was just kind of testing it, and the stripper was just okay there, but I started by going, well, maybe lacquer thinner is going to dissolve this finish better, and sure enough, it is. I put it on there as if it were stripper, and then of course I'm just kind of scraping it off, but you'll see it's quite liquidy, but it is taking that top layer off really nicely. Sometimes just getting it off of the piece is the struggle, but I just keep on with adding a little bit more. This time I've got just a little pot scrubber in my hand, and I'm just scrubbing it around, and I'm going to be able to wipe it off. Now, it's not going to take this stain off. This stain was just absolutely hanging on with everything it had, but I was able to get the finish off. Now, this is where I'm going to start pulling out the arsenal of things to try to strip this finish off. I've got the orbital sander, of course, and then I start using the carbide scraper. I use that for a little bit, back to the orbital sander, and then you can do the orbital sander for a lot of things, and you'll see I'm carbide scraping an orbital sander, but it doesn't get in the corners. So what do I have to do? Detail sander, and that one does get down into the corners, and then the detail scraper to get the edges, and now the contour sanding blocks to do all of the little rounded areas. So teamwork makes the dream work, and I finally got that strip. These casters are broken. There's a couple of them that don't even exist, and a couple are broken. I decided to just remove them all and sand that down. I added the little nylon feet to that so that it does slide around a little easier, and then of course we continue to just move it around so I can get to these areas a little easier. Still working with the team here with the scraping and the sanding, but just getting everything removed. Of course, now I'm switching to the pad to do these rounded areas and just get all of that down. This I would normally have to do by hand, but this detail sander with the Surf Prep is wonderful for doing these rounded areas. And I have a discount code for you if you ever want to try one. All right, it's time to strip the drawers. I tested a little corner that was a little lighter there, and I decided to go with a stripper on this instead of just lacquer thinner. And I think the lacquer thinner really was working better, but I got a lot of the finish off, and now it's time to sand. And again, this is really fighting me. And thankfully, this piece is constructed of solid wood. So, I'm not having to go with the 220 grits. I can really get in there with a heavy grit and get going. But I also wanted to clean up the sides of the drawers. So again, with this is 120 grit, but I'm cleaning up the stain that's on the sides of the drawers. and then using these little contour sanding blocks to get around all of these. These escutcheons were on every single drawer, so this was tedious and makes a big difference. So spend the time to get that done. Now, even after stripping and all the sanding, oak like this can still end up looking very orange. And that's exactly why I'm not using a traditional stain on this piece. And I'm going to use a tan wash. And if you'd like to learn more about tan washing, I've got a book about the entire process. I go through the entire tan washing process in my tan washing guide, including the mixing ratios and applications so you can get consistent results. But what I'm doing here is measuring out how much paint I want in my water. And I mix this pretty thin. So that means I didn't use a lot of paint because I'm going to apply this and not wipe it back. And there's lots of different methods to this. And again, I cover them all in the book, but there are different strategies to it. So some people use this where they do like a 50-50 mix, and then you would put that on there and wipe it off, and you're going to be left with a little bit more paint on the surface, so it's a bit more opaque. And I wanted this to really look natural. I don't want to mask that oak grain in any way, and so I did mix it very thin, and you can see I'm just applying it on, and it's going to soak right in and really not have to wipe it off because it is so thin. And of course, I'm going to get a lot of questions about, well, doesn't this raise the grain? Well, yes, but I'm not soaking it. I'm not putting a lot on my brush, but it soaks. It's going to raise the grain. But this method does raise the grain no matter which way you go about it. If you're going to wipe it back off, it's still, even if you wipe it off, you've still gotten the wood wet, and so it will still raise the grain. And what that means is the grain got wet and it's swollen, and now it feels rough. And before this whole piece can go back together, I've got something that I need to fix. If you ever pull out the drawers of an antique dresser and they look like this underneath, I'm going to show you how to fix that. So I have a piece of poplar. This is just a scrap piece of wood. So I'm going to cut a bunch of little stops for the drawers out of it. I just hang on to pieces like this because you never know what you need. I'll just cut off what I don't need. And yes, I usually have my big saw out, but just for these few little cuts, I decided to just use this saw on the floor. Now I made sure and cut these thin because I don't want it to be any taller than this. It only needs to be about that height. So that is pretty flush with that. And these are going to sit here like this instead of that and not rub so much on the drawer. The drawer face is going to hit that so it doesn't go any further back. So now I just need to pull that out and then I'll glue that down. And because wood does not necessarily like to be glued across the grain, I'm going to have to also put that on there with a little nail. So you just grab onto it with your pliers, move it around, and take it out. And then don't throw these away, because you may have another dresser where you're missing one, where you really need it, especially if it's one that's a door stop and not rubbing on anything. So always hang on to these. Okay, just adding a couple more nails to this one. And we have these new drawer stops. This will really save the life of the drawer because those metal ones we're going to eventually completely wear through the bottom of the drawer. Now, one of the interesting things about a finish like this that's all natural is it really can shift when you start using top coat. And so I'm going to be testing out what it's going to look like just on the tops of the drawers first. So you can see it is a little bit darker there once you start putting top coat on. This also is an area that doesn't get sprayed, so I do that part by hand. And now just go ahead and spray the rest. And thankfully, it's not color shifting too much, just deepening that a little bit. Sometimes when you go to start doing your top coat, the color shift is pretty drastic and you're like, ooh, maybe I should have done more of the tan wash, but this actually turned out just how I was envisioning it. And so I'm sanding in between layers. You'll notice that I didn't sand before the top coat after the tan wash. I just let it be however rough it was going to be. Get some top coat on there first and then let's start sanding. And I'm going to do top coat and top coat and sand until I did multiple layers, adding a touch of new hardware. Let's take a look back at where this started. Now again, this dresser has already lasted more than about 125 years. So after removing that old dark finish and bringing the oak back to a lighter natural tone, that grain really gets a chance to shine again. Pieces like this are the reason I love refinishing furniture. And with the right process, something that's more than a century old can still look incredible. If you like these transformations, make sure you're following. I just found a rare Henredin mid-century dresser that's next on the restoration list. You definitely don't want to miss that one.